Let's move our focus to the BRVM, and we have Kadi Fadika-Coulibaly, who's the CEO of SGI Hudson and Company. Kadi, thank you very much for being on the show today.
Let's
get straight into it by looking at some of the activity that came out of trading today. We saw the BRVM 10 index closed trading at 209.91. That's up 0.36%. Meanwhile, the all-share index, which is also the BRVM composite, closing at 189.89, up 0.39%. Total value traded went up 1.02 billion CFA francs. It'll be good to start with you talking us through the activity that came through in trading today.
Well, trading today was a bit was a little different than we had since the beginning of this week. We have to say that trading was pulled by Sonatel and SocGen. Sonatel trading $7 million, $7 million, and SocGen trading $4 million for the week. So today was like a quiet week just before Easter. It was a quiet day, sorry.
Now, the agricultural sector led the gainers chart today with 0.86% gains seen. We also saw gains in finance, distribution, industrial, and public services sector. Could you talk us through the performance that you've seen across the sectors and where you would recommend investors to put their money?
Well, we see growth coming from transportation, with Bolloré, of course, still working on the port and gained since the beginning of the year 74%. Also distribution with 24%, and the cable industry, with all the reconstruction going around, we also see the cable industry going up 19%. But what we are focusing at is agriculture with palm oil, palm seed. That is expected to pay a 10% dividend yield, and we're looking at a 30% growth for this year.
Now, you mentioned the cable industry. We saw Sikabel CI declare a dividend for 2012 of 5,904 CFA francs per share. It'd be good to get your reaction, how the market reacted to that dividend that was declared. I think the last time they declared a dividend last year, it was 2,250 CFA francs per share.
Exactly, like I mentioned, sea cable is providing infrastructure to the electricity company, and is one of the focus of the reconstruction. So we've seen that company growing volume in sales, and the price went up 13% since the beginning of the year, and the dividend yield expected is 10%. However, since the announcement, as it was expected, the stock remained flat because it was already taken into account into the price.
Now, it will be really good to know your opinion as to whether the market is ready for a second-tier exchange. We hear that there are plans to set that up to encourage listing from small and medium-sized enterprises across the West African Economic and Monetary Union. Do you feel that your market is ready for that, especially as that's not something that we've seen in a lot of African markets?
Our market definitely has been waiting for that second tier for a while now. We see that the rules that we have on our market are not favorable to small to medium-sized companies to enter the market. However, the way it's set, it doesn't seem that it's going to help like the very small companies go into the market. I don't believe it's made for them. But the larger, let's say, small to higher medium companies will definitely benefit from that. And the exchange is communicating and working on it very actively, and we should see it coming early next year.
Now, still on some plans moving forward, we know that there's some plans to push for some listed companies to improve the availability of their shares by splitting their stocks into cheaper chunks, just as we saw Sonatel do in November last year. Do you see this happening?
Yes, definitely. I know, and I've heard of the group BOA that is actually looking into splitting the shares. We saw BOA, Bank of Africa, Burkina Faso, gaining 30%, and the share is very expensive now if you look at the nominal value for the small investors in the zone. So this group is actually looking at splitting its share, but we're hoping to see companies like Solibra do the same again. So Libra has done it some years back, and the price is still very high on the nominal, so it should happen, yes.
And now, the last time you were on the show, we know that you mentioned plans for 2 new IPOs from the financial sector this year. Give us an update on that.
Well, it's still running. The government, there is a little delay because we was expecting the IPOs for this year, and it seems they're going to come first quarter of next year because they're still doing the valuation on these 2 companies. So as soon as that is done, then they will go forward and start working on the listing. But there's also the telecom company from Cote d'Ivoire that we should expect to see listed next year as well.